In the entire history of the American Music Awards, no one has won more of them than Taylor Swift. 40 trophies. The runner-up, Michael Jackson, isn't even close, 24. So when she walked into the 2026 ceremony holding 8 nominations, more than any other artist in the room, the night didn't look like a competition. It looked like a coronation that just hadn't happened yet. She left with nothing, 0 wins, 8 losses. And here's the part that should stop you cold. It was the second year in a row. This isn't a story about one bad night. It's a story about what happens when the world quietly decides it's tired of watching the same person win, and why the very people who build an idol are so often the ones who pull it down. Because the American Music Awards aren't handed out by a secret room of industry executives. They're chosen by fans, public votes, which means what happened to Taylor Swift wasn't a snub from above, it was a verdict from below. And the jury was us. So what did she actually do wrong? The strange answer is almost nothing. At least, nothing you can find in the numbers. 2 months before those nominations dropped, Swift released her 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl. It didn't just sell well, it rewrote the record books. 4 million equivalent units in a single week, the biggest week the modern era of music tracking had ever recorded. Nearly 3.5 million of those were pure copies, physical and digital, the largest sales week for any album since 1991, the year they started counting electronically. She outsold Adele's all-time record. She outsold everyone. There was even a companion film that pulled in more than $50 million at the box office. By every cold, measurable standard of success, she didn't just win the year, she swallowed it whole. And yet, somewhere underneath all that noise, something had started to shift. The reviews came back lukewarm, then cold. Critics called the album unfocused, thin, a step down. And then her own fans started saying the quiet part out loud, that they were exhausted, worn out by the endless stream of album variants, the vinyl in a dozen colors, the signed editions, the deluxe downloads, each one priced a little higher than the last. Worn out by a promotional machine that never seemed to power off. And when sharp-eyed listeners noticed what looked like AI-generated images tucked inside her marketing rollout, the irony cut deep. This was the artist who had built her entire identity on protecting human creativity and ownership. There's even a track on the album called Cancelled, a defiant song about standing by people the public has turned against. It arrived in the exact season the public began turning against her. You genuinely could not script it better. And this is the moment the music story becomes something older, something psychological. The psychiatrist Carl Jung had a name for the part of ourselves we refuse to look at, the shadow. He argued we don't destroy it, we project it outward onto other people. For years, we projected our fantasies of perfection onto pop stars. We needed them flawless so we could believe flawless was possible. But projection runs in both directions. The higher we lift someone, the more we quietly need them to fall, because their fall makes our own ordinary lives feel a little more bearable. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche took it further. He called it ressentiment, the slow, simmering resentment the many feel toward the few who climb above them. Not loud hatred, something far quieter. The kind of feeling that doesn't boo, it just stops clapping. Now, I want to be honest with you here, because this is a lens, not a courtroom. There are simpler explanations too. When someone has already won everything, the urgency to vote for them evaporates. Why bother casting a ballot for the woman who always wins anyway? In 2025, Swifties openly blamed each other, too distracted chasing theories about a secret album announcement to actually vote. Fan-decided shows don't really measure who made the best music. They measure who you're most excited to fight for right now in this exact moment. And after a decade at the summit, that excitement had quietly drifted somewhere else. But if you think a single shutout was just a fluke, watch what happens next, because the pattern is where the real story lives. Rewind to 2025, the AMAs that year. Swift walked in with 6 nominations and walked out with 0. Her first total shutout since 2007. The trophies went to Billie Eilish, who swept all 7 of hers. At the time, it read like an anomaly, a glitch in the system. Then 2026 arrived, and the glitch hardened into a trend. 8 nominations, 8 losses. 2 years, 14 straight defeats at a ceremony she had dominated more thoroughly than any living human being. Think about what that actually means. This was her show. The American Music Awards were the one ceremony where the public, not the industry, decided everything. And for 15 years, the public had decided in her favor more often than for anyone in history. To be shut out there, completely, twice, isn't like losing a Grammy to a panel of voters in a closed room. It's like walking into your own hometown and finding that the people who used to chant your name have simply gone home early. The crowd hadn't just stopped voting for her, they had started voting for someone else. And this is where the easy version of the story falls apart. Because we love a clean narrative, the queen dethroned, the underdog crowned, out with Taylor, in with Sabrina Carpenter. The headline practically writes itself, except it's only 1/3 true. Of Swift's 8 losses in 2026, Carpenter claimed exactly 3. Album of the Year, Best Pop Album, and Best Female Pop Artist, the first AMA wins of Carpenter's entire career. But the biggest prize of the whole night, Artist of the Year, didn't go to her at all. It went to BTS, the K-pop group returning from military service to one of the loudest comebacks in years. 2 more of Swift's losses went to the voices behind a viral animated soundtrack. Another went to a brand new girl group. Swift didn't lose her throne to a single rising heir. She lost it to a fractured field, to everyone and to no one at once. The throne didn't change hands. The throne simply dissolved. So why did we punish Taylor Swift? The honest answer is that we did it the way crowds always do, not with a decision, but with a drift. Nobody gathered to vote her down. We just got a little quieter for her, while we got a lot louder for everybody else. And Sabrina Carpenter became the perfect vessel for that energy. Younger, hungrier, cast as the scrappy challenger, even while her own album was shattering streaming records of its own. But here's a detail almost no one mentions, the one that makes the entire rivalry collapse. Sabrina Carpenter sings on the life of a showgirl. Her voice is right there on the title track of the very album that lost to her. They were never enemies. The war existed only in us, in the story we needed to tell about kings and the people who replaced them. And Carpenter is no untouchable saint either. Her own album cover, kneeling on the floor, a man's hand fisted in her hair, set off its own firestorm. Accusations that she was selling the exact thing she claimed to be mocking. When the critics came, she shrugged and told them, "Y'all need to get out more." The successor carried her own controversy. We simply chose for one season to forgive hers and to remember Swift's. As for Swift herself, she didn't fight the verdict. Asked about all the backlash, she said something that lingers. She said she wasn't the art police, that the goal of any entertainer is just to be a mirror. Maybe that's the entire thing, because an awards show decided by public vote was never really measuring the music. It was measuring us, our patience, our boredom, our quiet hunger to watch the mountaintop get a little less crowded. Taylor Swift didn't get smaller in 2026. She got too big to root for. And the same crowd that once carried her up there discovered that strange, ancient thrill of setting something heavy back down. The trophies will come back. For someone like her, they always do. The real question is whether we'll ever admit that the snub was never about her at all. It was a mirror, and we just didn't love what we saw.